Hey, everybody! Welcome to Monday night's edition of the Paranormal Question of the Day. Coming right up, right after the intro. And we are back. So, welcome, everybody. Taryn, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Awesome. And we have a special guest with us here tonight. It is one half of Paranormal Exposures with Kat Armstrong.
Hello.
So, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about your team and how it became Paranormal Exposures and stuff that you got going on. And also, we got the question that we're going to be talking about shortly. So, other than that, take it away.
All right. Well, I am Kat. My husband is Will. He would be here tonight, but he has work in the morning. We are actually quite a large team. We have about 11 members at the moment. We're out of Iowa. We broke off from another team just to be able to do our own thing back in October of 2021. And we have grown by leaps and bounds in this last year, just doing a lot of new things and uh, going to a lot of places and just learning how to work together and things like that. We just finished an investigation Saturday at Boone County Historical Society, which was really unbelievably awesome. It's been a pretty quiet place. This was our third time back, and it was a lot more than we
Hey,
expected.
Lori.
So, hello to Lori.
Where'd you say it was Boone what? Boone County
Yeah, Boone County Historical Society in Iowa.
in
Um,
Iowa.
yeah, Boone, Iowa. And it's basically an old Masonic temple that became their historical museum because it's a big, large building and it's perfect for that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's got the Masonic temple background, but then it has thousands and thousands of artifacts.
Oh, wow. That had to be cool to see.
Oh,
Everything,
it's very cool.
even back to like Civil War memorabilia and things like that. They have a whole military room in honor of their soldiers. Part of being able to investigate there is they have a second and third floor that are not currently part of the museum. So if you go and do a tour, we're going to see Lori in August. But the part of the tour is just the first floor, and there's like three main rooms of the gallery, and then they have all this storage upstairs of a bazillion things additional and office space and things that you get to investigate, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Now, do you get feelings off of objects too, or is it just did you feel anything like that? Are you sensitive and all that stuff? Like you walk into a room and feel stuff?
I'm in denial, but yes, I don't admit any of that. So why don't you just put me on the spot, Taryn?
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
It's interesting because like one of the things that we did towards the end of the night is because they've had a few other teams in this location. They're not open to public investigation. It's just kind of by either invite or special communication to be able to get into this location right now. And they have a room that is kind of like a miscellaneous history of the Boone County area. There's a lot of different things. There's some medical stuff. There's some Native American things. There's something about coal mining. There's a little display and it has like a little bucket of coal, but it's just very like odds
Wow.
and ends kind of a room. And she's like, some people get some stuff off this room. I want to see what you get. And so I'm like, I walk in, and when I'm trying to like feel a room, I generally just like, start off with like just stand in the room. I close my eyes. I kind of center myself. And I just did kind of a walk around the room, and I'm like, not sure what I'm even standing next to, but I'm getting some energy off of this. It feels pretty residual. It ended up being a medical case with a bunch of instruments that were used over 100 years or more. There was a trunk. I'm like, there's something in the trunk that has energy. I'm not sure what it is, but there's like, you piled a ton of stuff in this trunk, and I'm not digging through it for you. Um, and then I got around, and I'm like, and this dress here has something about. She was funny. That's the thing I wanted to know if you agreed, because we've had 4 different teams come in and be like, there's something about this dress. People have gotten EVPs off of it, and I'm like, I've not even ever gone in and investigated this room. I kind of feel guilty a little bit
Yeah.
because we've focused so much on some of the other rooms, but
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because she's like, that's exactly what I wanted to see if you picked up on. So
That's awesome. The medical.
Yeah,
See, I would have to I would have to walk through the place first and spend a couple hours just watching. You know what I mean? Like just kind of walking around and looking at it. I've right next to me. I have it looks like a mini consignment little thing because I have all these medical antiques in this thing and
Oh, I love that.
and two New Kids on the Block dolls, which can be considered vintage since they're from the 80s.
are they haunted?
What medical stuff did you use those for? No.
Yeah, right?
How did they end up in that cabinet?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. My boyfriend came in and goes, "It's funny, you have all these cool antiques and stuff like that. Then there's Danny and Jordan dolls." And I'm like, "Listen, they're from the 80s. These are vintage. Okay?"
Oh man. So, who's all part of your team? If you want to list them off, and that way people
Sure.
get familiar who their names are when they go into the lives.
Absolutely. So we have Patty Ulrich, which is one of my best friends. We have Heidi Schmidt. They both have been with us for about a year now. Ethan Camroot is our new guy. He's actually only been on 2 investigations with us so far, but by golly, this kid is amazing. If you ever get a chance to just run into him somewhere, he lives in Wisconsin, Darren. So
Oh, really?
yeah, he just on the other side of Dubuque. He's in Hazel something. I'm not sure. He's just on the border of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And then we have my oldest child, Kyle, and my 17-year-old daughter, Aubrey, investigates with us. They kind of trade off. I was explaining to Darren, with a 6-year-old, only one of the 2 gets to come. The other one's the babysitter. So they're kind of back and forth.
6-year-old could take care of themselves. No, just
I'm
kidding.
waiting for her to grow up enough to be
Can you make a disclaimer and say you're only kidding? Because Facebook will have
I said I'm just
jail
kidding.
freaks will
I'm
have
just
a
kidding.
site that's at your door.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a copyright infringement now.
Yeah, right. CBS Live will cop infringe me, right?
We got it from one of our lives. We're talking and we used the RTC box, and somehow the voices coming through the RTC box were copyright problems, and that was kind of fun.
I wonder if that's what happened.
I don't know how that happens. Like it's
Yeah.
Maybe with the well, no, well, see, I used the same thing when I was in the piano room.
But yeah, so Carla Kelly is another one of our members. Her husband Devin is with us in memory. He passed away at the beginning of this year. Carla still comes to some of our investigations. It's still a little tough for her to continue doing it right now. She's been out for a couple. Kendra Hines is our honorary lovely young lady that's 13 that we bring in on investigations. She got to do Boone with us this weekend.
She's very good though too.
That was her 3rd overnight that she's done this year.
Okay.
She's her only hang up is that she wants so badly to communicate with her Uncle Tommy, which breaks my heart. He has actually come through at 2 locations, which makes it that much more difficult, but amazing. But that's kind of like every time that she's investigating that she does get a little hung up on that, which kind of breaks my heart a little bit. But he does come through, so it's kind of
it's a bittersweet, right now.
Right.
And we know it's him because he talks about his dog Lucy, and it's just like, oh my gosh. I mean, there's so much legitimate communication coming through with it. But she blows me away. She's 13. I met her through a tour at Edinburgh Manor. She knew just as much about the place as I did giving the tour because she had been on the tour so many times. And I'm like, I don't need to give this tour. Kendra should give this tour. Mm-hmm. So, so we started bringing her along with us on things. And whenever she was out, we made sure we gave her some equipment. And she, for Christmas, got all kinds of stuff. And she has all her own gear and does stuff on her own as well as with us. And it's awesome. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we know that you've been to Edinburgh a lot. So what is besides Edinburgh and Boone, what is your other favorite location you like to go to?
I love Malvern Manor. We've been there several times. I've got a little sweet place in my heart for Horridge House. We've had some very interesting evidence there. It's in Vinton, Iowa. and it's very new. They started doing investigations last year. It has 2 locations. It's got the train depot and the house, and we're actually going back in September. They have 2 one-time only locations that they're adding in on this event that they're doing, and I'm just like, I can't not do one-time locations. I mean, I got to get in on that.
Right.
They're adding in a Lincoln Schoolhouse and another location that I can't think of off the top of my head. But it's one of those locations where, you go to the places like Edinburgh and you get stuff that sometimes turns a little dark. And you don't get that at Horridge House. You get, you're talking literally to George Horridge, who is the man of the house. And we've gotten his wife Carrie to come through. They do have a military display in there that we've had some communications relating to some of the military objects in the room. But just a really fun, not mentally stressful location. And those are kind of nice to have every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Because some places are just really mentally intense, and it's kind of nice to just go in and be like, this is a nice, good, quiet, but not quiet place.
Right.
Yeah, and you're right by the Granger House too. I've been in the Granger House.
And funny enough, I have not, and it's literally like 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah, Granger House is pretty cool. We investigated there overnight and got a lot of interesting stuff. So yeah, whenever you get a chance, definitely hit up the Granger House.
I've actually reached out to him twice to set up dates and then never followed through, which is
really?
Which is horrible. That's my fault. But I get my calendar filled up so fast that it's like, man, where am I putting Granger House now? And
I thought they never got back to you. I'm sorry.
No, they absolutely got back to me. They're like the same day or the next day, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Which date did I want to pick? And then I forget that I'm picking a date, and then I move on to life. But that's when I was working too many hours also. So
yeah, and Sarah Hyde are really cool people.
Yeah, they'll get on the schedule. That's one I want to get to. The advantage of it being 10 minutes away is even if weather was bad and we did it later in the year, like when it's colder, we'd still be all right.
Oh yeah, especially when you go in the other part of the property, the carriage house. That gets really hot. So, but other than that, Taryn, you want to add into anything, or you want to get to the question?
Yeah, we can get to the question.
All right, I'll let
Unless
you.
Kat, do you guys have something coming up? Do you guys go live during your investigations?
We do. We absolutely do go live during our investigations. I actually have some people that we count on a lot to be there. One of them's Darren. If Darren doesn't show up, then we're not really having fun.
Yeah.
If you want questions asked, Darren is never ending. It doesn't ever stop.
Yep, it's what brought us together. I say it all the time.
But
there's never any questioning.
But I'd like to have fun in chat though too. I mean, I like to pick on people and then just throw some crazy things out there. But
that's because you love my husband so much. My husband is from Scotland, and you can't help but pick on him and his little skirt that he doesn't wear for investigations, but should.
Yeah, I said do a cartwheel, and she's like, "Yeah, do a cartwheel in your skirt." I'm like, I don't know if you want to do that.
I actually feel bad, Darren, because we found a hula hoop at Edinburgh, and I'm like, oh my god, we got to do the hula hoop, because we were like, if the spirit communicates, we'll make William do something like a certain animal. And Darren's like, oh, we should get him a hula hoop, and I'm like, we found a hula hoop in the basement. I'm like, we can make this happen. The hula hoop is there, and then I don't know why it never happened.
I wonder if that's from REP, because when REP Paranormal was there, I did the same thing. It's like, when they're out in the cemetery, I'm like, okay, if the eddy goes off to a certain temperature, Allison will do a cartwheel out there. And it got to a certain temperature, and she had to do the cartwheel. And then the same thing, too, is when they got inside, I was like, yeah, when such and such gets to some point, yeah, get a hula hoop out, and you have to make Kim do the hula hoop. So maybe that's where it came from.
A hot pink one. So if it was hot pink, it could be.
Yeah. But. See, those are the type of things I like to do. I like to do challenges, but also in the same instance as with the challenge, it's going along what they're trying to do is get the temperature to go down or the temperature to go up. So there's rewards for that.
Right. Well, we have done challenges, but not with like really silly rewards. But we've actually been in the boiler room and having like big celebrations and cheering and clapping because temperature dropped 4 degrees in less than a couple minutes on an eddy, and we're like, yay! You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it
Oh
was
yeah.
actually remarkable because we're like, can you get it down again? And it would just keep counting it down, and we're like, it's way too fast to be anything but paranormal. It doesn't drop that fast. I mean, it was 4 degrees in a matter of like 2 minutes, and it kept going down from there. We ended up having about a 7 degree change,
Hmm.
and that's pretty amazing. But then when we went back and set up, the temperature was up.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. Because when me and my wife were at the museum in Share County, we were in a child's room, and I was actually sitting on my or kneeling on the floor, and she was standing kitty corner from me, and I was like, "Holy crap! I just saw some," and I'm blind, and I just saw a mist go from the doll towards my wife, and we're in the dark, and I saw this mist. And I didn't say anything. I'm like, holy crap, that's weird. And next thing she goes, holy cow, it just got super cold over here, like something's grabbing my hand,
That's
you
awesome.
know? And it's freaking hot up there. We're sweating.
Yeah, you should have said something. You should have said, I see something. But then again, I guess
She
people
wouldn't
would.
have believed him seeing something when he can't see.
See?
Oh, true. And then nobody will believe that she really felt a cold spot because you said, I just see something. And then she would be like, oh, I'm feeling a cold spot. They would think that she was just saying that because of what you said.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything about the
No, I
mist
know you didn't. Yeah.
until after she said, holy crap, it's cold. And then after she started saying it's cold, I was on feeling the hand. It's like, yeah, because I saw a mist move from the doll to you about five minutes after the fact of what happened.
Was it just you and your wife in the investigation?
Hmm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she would go outside while we're investigating. When we're take a break, she'll come inside and we all talk about how the session went and stuff. So it was cool. It was cool. First time ever seeing a mist like that in the dark. So
What color was it? White?
it was a smoky kind of white. Yeah, it was really fine smoky. So it wasn't like white white. So it was like the grayish kind. So it was on the level of like if I'm kneeling, it's like chest level.
Right.
So it was interesting.
That's cool.
So we'll break into the question of the day,
What are you
and
doing? What are you doing?
I just switched it on you.
I'm trying to do this. I work in the basement sometimes too. LOL.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, go
that
ahead.
too. So here is the paranormal question of the day, and Kat came up with this question. So basically, um, a lot of people, uh, hey Bill, a lot
Bill.
of people rely on going to investigate all the time, like just in the dark. Just, that's where they feel comfortable, that's where they want to be. But sometimes they forget about the daytime investigations.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey,
She was
Sarah.
she was one of our guests at the Boone presentation.
Oh,
So
cool.
Oh, okay. And we did an investigation not too long ago because that weekend I wasn't able to come along. We did a daytime and a nighttime to show the difference between the two. So you want to elaborate a little more on that, Kat?
So I actually love daytime investigation. My team is actually trained up daytime before I even throw them in an overnight. And I do make the joke that it's because if I can't handle you for 2 hours during the day, then I definitely don't want to have a whole night with you.
True.
But I but I love my team, and I've yet to have anybody that I'm like, oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
But it's an easy way to take out all of the anxiety that comes with the fear of the nighttime investigation. Um, we get a ton of evidence. So I trained my team up at Edinburgh Manor, which obviously was a facility that operated during the day. And we actually got evidence during the day every single time we were there. There was never a single time that we didn't have at least something happen. It's, you're still getting, all of the EMF meter readings and REM pod interactions and the voice devices and the EVP phenomena. It's all still happening during the day. You look at what you might be missing is maybe you're not going to get to see the shadow figure things, or but those are the things that to a new investigator are the things that actually make you have the fear.
Right.
And I'm not really wanting to start people out with the fear factor of it. So it just was very helpful to be able to have that opportunity to bring them into things and learn how to use equipment to prepare them for doing investigations at night. We still do like to do daytime. So even when we do stay at a location, especially if we have 2 nights consecutive, we want to do stuff in the morning. We get different things at different times. I hear a lot more audible voices during the day than I usually get overnight. Disembodied, not just EVP, but disembodied voices that we have gotten on daytime. There was a room where we were investigating, waiting for some people to come in for their overnight. And my husband and I were in the room and asking questions, and we weren't expecting people for another hour and a half. And I had done the day tour, and so it was just kind of filler of time in between. And there was a man's voice in the hallway that was so loud that we stopped everything and we actually did a full search of the building, because that was no way that was paranormal. It was that loud. Nope, there was nobody in the building. It's just kind of interesting that, so many people think that it only happens at night, and it definitely is all the time. So,
well, I believe that. I mean, I think they don't act on cue. I said this the other night. Like, that's one of the things I have with those the spirit boxes is because we all believe. I've never talked to an investigator that doesn't agree with the fact that it doesn't have to be night. It can be day. You know what I mean? Like, it could be, because they don't act on cue. So it can happen at any time. But then when you put the spirit boxes on, it's almost like you're getting an answer with every single question. Not you personally. I'm saying, like, in general. You know what I mean? Whenever you're watching videos and stuff, and it's like they're getting people get an answer every single question they ask, and I'm like, how's that happening if we know that they don't do that? Like, I've never had a recording from an EVP session where they're like, yeah, yes, and answering names and saying numbers and doing all this and that. So,
So are you anti spirit box?
Yes.
You're anti spirit box. Okay.
I am. I know a lot of people use them. I don't knock anybody that uses them. Everybody has their own preference and how they. I don't judge. I don't knock anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if it's going to get you the answers you feel you need to get, you know what I mean? Like, so it's each his own.
With spirit boxes, you got to have a trained ear to really hear and listen to what's coming through, because sometimes it could be just gibberish,
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was testing out one from Ghost Tube, their spirit box stuff at the museum, and I'm like, what did that say? Because it has an echo, and then I had to pay something to get all that crap to get it off of there so I can actually hear what it's saying with all the extra echoing and stuff. But Kat has a really cool device. She's got the ANC DOS or DAS that hooks up to a spirit box and takes the white noise out, or the pink noise and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and then you can control it.
One of my issues is the noise. I can hear. I'm clairaudient, so I can hear disembodied voices a lot, and that kind of like clouds that whole thing out for me. You know what I mean? So that's another thing, that I don't like.
It makes me sick at some point, and then I have to turn it off.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm jumping to Bill here. He says a lot of his things are people that only want to investigate at night, but Ethan and I were just there, and it wasn't dark yet when we started, and we got all kinds of stuff. We actually thought that it was more active up until it got dark, and then it kind of quieted down after dark at his location that night, which I know isn't the norm for his location, but I thought it was very interesting. And
especially when you got that stretcher.
Well,
that was unreal.
I feel like with that, I mean, think about it. Most of us have daytime jobs.
Right.
And they can't really investigate during the day, during the week, during the day on the weekend. So you have to make it a weekend night investigation, or, something where, your team, everybody can go to. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Another thing is at nighttime, the rest of the world is kind of going to sleep. so you don't get a lot of that ambient noise, like cars driving by as much, or music and people outside talking. So a lot of the outside world is shutting down when you're starting to investigate. So to
Yeah.
me, those are two reasons. Three, if you're a team that likes to use a lot of equipment, you're not going to see those lights going off during the day and this and that. So a lot of it's with the equipment too. So there's three reasons why I think people want to do it at night. I don't think it's because it's more activity versus the other,
Yeah.
really.
But you got experiments though, and Calyx do experiments,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You could do it whenever, but he's
and
saying why does
you can have the
everybody want
lights
to?
on for experiments too.
Mhm.
So I mean, like the one I was explaining to Kat before is like the next one I want to try is having two balloons up, and then I explained it to
Oh
you too,
yeah, yeah. I
Tara.
remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have balloons up. See if I can get a spirit to move a certain balloon more than the other, or have it pop one. And you could do that during the daytime. Turn the light on and see how it goes. You
Yeah.
know, people want to
Ethan,
see.
Ethan from my team has a lot of luck with the Maglite flashlights, which I still personally don't get any luck with that myself. And I
Hmm.
think it's interesting because, like, because Bill Walter is Broadhead Manor, um, we have evidence of like ask a question, turn this light on or for a yes, and turn that light on for a no, and we were getting alternating yes and no's for questions, and I'm just like, that's pretty awesome. But we
Hmm.
had put them down in a crawl space hole that was part of like the bleachers of the location where they had like a little service hole thing. I'm not sure what it was, but it was just interesting because he's in there, and like I'm asking questions, and he's kind of like trying because he's feeling stuff moving around down in there, intuitively, and the flashlights kick on. He's like, "Oh, which flashlight was it?" Because he's behind the lights and down in a hole, and so he
Yeah.
kept. But it's like, it was an interesting and fun of an experiment that we did for that
Yeah.
place. They really like that there, and some of the, I think having a variety of devices is absolutely huge for being able to adapt to where you go. Because I
Hmm.
find that some places are good with some devices and absolutely suck at others, and they
Right.
kind of
Right.
have like the spirits have picked their favorite ways of communicating, and they like don't really care about the rest, and I think that's interesting also.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you like to do a lot, and I think you do this, I think 2 or 3 times during an investigation, and this is something you can also do during the daytime, is your Estes method.
Our team loves the Estes method. um, it's actually tough to get my team to agree to not do them all the time because so many of them are so like we get so much stuff with it and accurate answers like immediately to questions. It's we did even at the last Edinburgh investigation, we had one person asking questions. We had people in headphones on all three floors directly above each other getting the same questions, and we were getting interactions from all three floors that pertain to each other. And they have no interaction with each other to know what's even going on the other floors. And then William and Richard Estep were actually the ones watching and asking questions. And we were just split between the floors, kind of one person observing and one person in the headphones. So
Yeah, I did that at Kreischer Mansion in February. I think it was the first time I ever did it that way, where it was me and one other person with a radio, with like a Bluetooth speaker or something like that. And we were asking questions. There was somebody in the basement and somebody on the top floor. They had like something on to talk through, you know what I mean? So they didn't need the blindfold that people usually, because nobody else was up there with them. And the rest of
right.
us were on the floor where we were asking questions. And we would just ask questions, and they were answering as we were asking. Sometimes they didn't answer at all, sometimes, but a couple of things did correlate with the history of
That's cool.
the mansion, but also with the question we asked.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I saw the one when you were in the basement, and that was interesting. That was an interesting basement, though.
oh, you're talking about the one where I was at with the tub is in the basement?
Wherever the Crusher Mansion that you were just talking about.
Oh, Kreischer Mansion. You mean with the
Yeah,
coffin was in the basement?
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
so
those are
other
definitely daytime investigation things, though. I agree that those easily work on daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'll tell
mean,
you what, I investigate Gettysburg all the time, and I investigate uh, daytime, nighttime, dinner time, whatever time I
Yeah.
can. I run amok through the park like it's nobody's business. And I go through there, and I do. It's an equal amount. It's an equal amount of stuff. It's an equal amount of.
I have this vision of Taryn running through. Sorry. Running amok for Gettysburg, and somebody's going by like, what in the hell was that? I hope I'm there on that day. Whenever I go to Gettysburg, I hope I get to see that moment.
oh,
We can plan. We can make it happen.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, and so I've noticed. I do know, though. I will say that the park has a different feeling at night than there is during the day, and I don't know why that is. And I don't know if it's just my own mind, like being in the dark. Just human, like you know what I mean, like human natural.
I think
You know,
it's the atmosphere. It changes.
I think that's common with a lot of places. So, like Edinburgh Manor is even when the building was in operation, the patients would even say it was one place by day and another by night at the manor, even
yeah,
when it was still open and running. So,
yeah.
I think it depends on the type of location. I can see Gettysburg having a lot of reasons to be different day and night. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
a
they do have their mind of their own. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just have to try I mean, I don't know if it's me myself, playing games. You know what I mean? Just because you're in the dark, in the woods, surrounded by forests and, spirits and this and that. So, you're waiting for, I'm waiting for, Michael Myers to come stepping out of the woods somewhere. And I'm like,
if only.
but I'm in Gettysburg, so I'm pretty safe. I would expect it more in Jersey. I won't go and running amok in the woods in Jersey, that's for sure. Gettysburg is fine.
So, what are other things you like to do during the daytime for investigating versus the nighttime stuff?
We like to do, obviously, Estes, you already picked up on that one. We like to do just some things with like trigger object that we actually can, it's just, you see well, that all of the devices still work just as easily in daytime. I know, like seeing because we're not a big like YouTube trying to like make the next coolest video for everybody to watch. We literally are investigating for our own reasons of trying to have understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, like having the fancy flashing lights in the dark isn't as important as being able to capture the, what's happening of things. We like to investigate during times that like would be like a mealtime, or like something that like people would be gathering in a space or having a reason to be in a space. We've done dance parties at Edinburgh because they like music. We've had daytime SLS evidence of someone dancing, and our K2s were lighting up while it was moving around in the room, in the spaces that it was. That's why Bill likes us so much. But he's just trying to recruit me to be a haunt actor. Not really.
I don't have to put anything on this
Spend more
face.
time there. I always think I'm like, man, I wish Eastern State. I should sign up to be a haunt actor at Eastern State, and that way I could just hang out there, or Pennhurst, or Fort Mifflin. Like I volunteer and I help out at these places. You know what I mean? I'm like, I should just do it during Halloween season, and I'll just be there all the time. I'll investigate when we're not doing a haunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that and it's places that are dual duty like that. It's got to be a lot of fun because that's
Yeah.
a lot of energy to pump into a
Oh,
building.
for sure.
Dragging Bill into it again. He played music. He was worried, like we were investigating just for fun 2 weekends ago at his location. And he's like, well, if you want me to turn the music off, if you're going to do video or whatever, let me know and I'll turn it off so it's not interfering. I'm like, leave the music on. I think it's part of the energy of the building, and I think it's not going to affect what we're doing at all. If I was trying to do a silent EVP session, I might ask, but for Facebook Live, if we have some music jamming in the background, so be it. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's part of the personality of the location. The spirits already are aware this is something that happens, and to change their environment to try to make it better for me, I think it's that's silly. Like, let them have what they're used to having, and maybe they'll realize that we're fitting in to
Right.
their place, not us trying to change their place to what we want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. That's a good way to look at it. It's perfect.
Right.
I like that.
So how different is Malvern during the daytime versus nighttime?
I don't. There's Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I don't feel like Malvern is different for me at all. I know that a lot of people feel like the energy at night is a lot darker, but I feel like there's just a lot to have all over the place at Malvern. There, the shadow hallway, daytime or nighttime, is active, and the rooms upstairs, I feel like it still has all of the feelings that you get regardless of the time of day. I don't think that it's limited to that. I think we're less aware during the day is honestly how I feel. A lot of people are at a lower state of awareness than they are, kind of like was mentioned earlier by Paula. Your senses are probably more in tune at night. And I just kind of feel like it is just the energy shift between the
Probably
two.
because
But, yeah.
I mean, I sit there and I just concentrate more on what I'm doing.
In the dark, you're down a sense, so you're concentrating with the other ones. But during the day, you're just swapping. So what are you not using so that you have the ability to have all of the things that you're paying attention to in the daytime? It's a different perspective. You have to adjust to it a little bit. My favorite thing is like at Edinburgh Manor, when I go in early and I do cleaning, I have some of the best evidence that comes through. Like you set out a spirit box and you let it go, and you sweep a room and you say, is there anything I can do for you? Or did I do a good job making your bed? And you actually get like thank yous and things like that come back while you're cleaning their rooms. It's just like, I can't trade that for anything. It just blows my mind. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. You're having that personal feeling of what's going on. And
hey, Becky.
I have to give a shout out really quick. Sorry, Arizona Treasure Hunter. Thank you so much for checking in. I know you're busy and doing all kinds of cool stuff, but thank you.
Absolutely.
He's awesome. I had him on my show once, and he is legit a treasure hunter. And then he wound up on TV with, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Rob Riggles, the guy that was in Rush Hour, or not Rush Hour, the guy that was in Hangover, the cop. He was like, in your face. What's his name? Rob Riggles or something. Anyway, it was a great episode. And they were treasure hunting out there. So he's cool. I'm having him on again.
I'm sure you'll probably post up pretty soon.
Yeah. No, we were already talking about him coming back on. So
okay.
And there's my Patty. You got to pop Patty up on the screen. There she is.
Hey, Patty.
That is the Patty of my team. She's the amazing lady that helps me keep going with all of the things that we do. So,
Rob Riggle. Thank you, Mike.
So, what is the things that you want to see more of the paranormal that you haven't seen yet? Is there something that you're just dying to sink your teeth into and just see what happens?
I'm a little jealous that my name wasn't written in all capital letters now with an exclamation point.
Oh.
Mike's gonna have to fix that fast, or he's in deep.
He's gonna be in trouble.
And I'm gonna see him on the 13th, and I'm gonna give him hell if he doesn't.
Good, you kick his butt for me.
Mike, William is in bed. He has to get up at 3:30 in the morning, and it is past his bedtime. So there you go. It's there.
Thank you. Lots of exclamation points. You win. You win today.
Suck ass.
We'll still give him abuse in August. We're still making it. I feel all of a sudden like this is one of my lives because all my favorite people are popping in. So
good.
There's Nico. See, all my favorite people are here. So
thanks, Bill.
There's Nico.
Yeah, Nico's been on a lot of our lives lately, and he's just really fun to interact with on the lives because he has a lot of input on things. Like he's kind of like you, Darren, where he jumps in and he's like, "You need to do this. You need to try this. What? Ask this." And it's like, I love that on a live because it puts me on.
Me too.
Yeah, Nico actually came up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are all the lives? What's all going on this weekend? You're on all the lives, so who's on?" And I'm like, "Well, you can check here," and then that's when I think he started coming into yours
Yep.
because it's like, "Hey, go to this one. You'll have a lot of fun." And Nico's a great guy because he's very scientific with a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's the brain that you will get to see of.
Oh, talking about suck up.
Oh, thank you. I washed it today.
Too. I didn't get a hair compliment though, so
I'm bald, so I don't have to worry about that.
but yeah, all my favorite people are on now. This is great.
That's awesome. I'm glad.
Lori is gonna have me lock Mike in Ed's room. I'm all for it. So but yeah, I just have no idea where we're at. You asked a question, I've lost it. I'm
Yeah, I know. Now I'm like, what's happening over here?
Well, hold on a second. Give me a break
Aaron got
here.
up.
I got a cat to get rid of because he'll actually unplug my computer.
Oh boy.
That's funny. So earlier when I jumped in
Come on, monkey.
pretty live when I was talking to Karen, I have a basket that I had books in, and I had just put the books away. I have my little paranormal library over here. These are all paranormal books in that cabinet.
Oh, cool.
And I had some out at the presentation that we did on Saturday, so I emptied them out and put them away. My cats are fighting over the basket.
Come on, bud.
So we're talking to Darren, and one of the cats is in the basket, the other one wanted the basket, and all of a sudden you're like, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is my monkey.
Two of mine are right here. You can't see one because he's black. You see his little white right there. And then
I'm not picking up cats because mine are mean.
there's my girl right there. She got her back to us. Baby girl, why you got your back to me?
Now this guy here, he likes to come down whenever I'm live, and he likes to pull the cord out of the wall, so it kills the whole computer.
He looks like you feed him well.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
I heard him say
he's
something about he's also starving and he needs treats or something. I think that's what I heard.
I hear purring. I love purrs.
Oh yeah. Want to say hi?
Yes, I have my puppy, but I don't know where he's at. He's upstairs, I think.
That's actually really cute.
But yeah, this is my monkey boy. So the question I had was, okay, so is there like a experiment that you haven't tried it, like you just really want to sink your fingers in it and try it and see how it goes?
I am just really open to anything that comes up. I don't think I pre-plan out oh my God, this is the one thing I've always wanted to do in my entire life. I feel more like I adapt to the location and how they're wanting to communicate. Because my goal in general is literally just to be able to communicate. And if I'm so like set on my way, then I feel like that's how some teams go into some of these locations and they get no evidence. This is how I do it. This is my way of doing things. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't believe we got nothing for the whole night. And I'm like, how did you get nothing? Then you needed to change it up. You needed to do something different. And I think I go into a place and I just adapt. Now, a list of locations that I want to do, that's never ending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all over the U.S. and Ireland. And
see you later, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
See you, Mike. Thanks for joining us tonight.
But yeah, I don't necessarily go in with a huge plan. I knew Edinburgh. The thing that we wanted to do is that three level Estes, just to see what we could get because it was an area that was like high energy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome, Bill. I gave Bill his first piece of paranormal equipment. I gave him a cat ball. He's spelling it KAT ball because of me, apparently. But Patty says I have to call them ghost balls from now on because she doesn't like cat balls. And she also does not like when I refer to them as Williams balls.
I like ghost balls.
In her hand. No.
That's funny.
But yeah, I just the location tells me what to do. I just basically do what it is and get in there and just whatever I feel like has to happen happens. So
right.
I like ghost balls. G balls. I like ghost balls.
So
I can't have this. My cats destroy them. They like go after they play with them and hit them against the wall, and I'm like, oh.
mine are locked in the case. My cats do not get to have mine. My
Yeah,
Yep,
cat,
mine
I
don't
just
either.
don't
We
want my
tested it and
cat.
they didn't do nothing to it. They just looked at it like, you want us to do with what with that?
Well, I have
yeah,
one on Prozac, so he's easily amused. So the cat balls, he just is like he's all about them.
yeah.
Hmm.
My one cat, she doesn't really play with toys a whole lot, but she literally, like, you give her catnip and she drools like a puddle. Like, it's disgusting. She like literally is like, catnip is so exciting. So any catnip toy, it's like, and I'm like, that's really gross. Did the dog pee on the floor? No, the cat had catnip, and she drooled.
Oh no, I have my girl. She plays fetch. That's what she was doing. She was bringing me in her ball so I could throw it for her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, leave me
Fun.
alone.
Oh yes, I just did that too. It's fun with the laser cat. With the laser though.
The laser cat. Is
Or they
something
just
new,
go pew
Karen?
pew pew pew. Laser cats.
Don't burn my eyes out with that laser cat.
And then Nico says, in your investigation, what is your end goal? What do you hope to bring to the paranormal field? Good question.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I really just feel like the stories need to be heard. There's so many places that everybody's focused on so many of the negative things that are happening in a lot of locations. And I'm very much about finding and identifying people that haven't been able to share who they are or why they're there. A good example of that is just our investigation at Boone. We were actually in communication with 3 different military entities in the military room that we actually had their things there in that room. And like we had a medium that was talking to us on the live, and she actually had early on said something about the Korean War, about something with Korean War. We were investigating on another thing, and then the RTC box comes through and it says ship, and we're asking questions like, did you serve on a ship? Were you in the Navy? And then we're getting yes. It led us to looking for someone in the Navy. We ended up having 3 different entities that brought themselves to our attention via either light up devices with cat balls or the RTC box giving us the voices and communications. Some of it was like multiple word sentences coming through the box.
Wow.
And it was, it was just crazy because at one point the lady on the live was like, I'm still getting a P name. And I'm like, but this uniform has a GF in the collar and we don't have a name. And the lady from the location was like on with board members, like, can we figure out whose uniform this is so that we can identify like what's going on here? Because one of the people that was coming through on the devices was saying there was a misrepresentation of him. And we're pretty sure that what happened, and they're looking into it now, that the Historical Society is looking into it, is that the photo that is with this uniform is not the man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So the uniform belonged to somebody other. That's not the picture that's there. And they have the full uniform, but the picture is somebody else. Yeah, Nico was on that live. The other thing that was crazy is she's like, I'm getting a P name. It's Patrick. And then the Korean War thing came back up. And sure enough, Patrick has this little display in the case, and Patrick died as a casualty in the Korean War. And that came through between the medium on live and the device. Like, it actually told us Patrick through the device also. And I'm like, okay, well, let's find Patrick. Where's Patrick? And it was interesting. We had the Navy gentleman that came through, wanted us to know that he didn't have all his recognitions. He was missing things. Well, we found out he's missing 3 medals. 3 of his medals are not displayed on his uniform in the location.
Oh, wow.
So we might be looking into seeing if we can get him his medals. I've got someone looking into that to see if we can, find a way to get him new medals. So
right.
Yeah.
That's always a good find when you get stuff like that. I mean, it really highlights the place really well, and it just shows that you can get different things. It's not always about find different spirits and stuff like that. It's other things that could come forward.
I'm not big on the whole what's the scariest, most exciting thing that's going to make me get more people watching. I'm more into I want to know the who and the why and I want to help is more where I'm at. I would like to make things right to people that are there, or at least communicate to them. Like, one of the things that I thought was interesting from Edinburgh Manor is I was walking down a hallway with a device, and I wasn't I'm just doing my walkthrough before a check-in, and I heard a female voice in a place where I normally don't get any interactions. And I stop and I'm like, is that someone that's trying to talk to me? And the same voice came through. I still have no idea what she said. William walked into the room just kind of looking around. And I said, I really like your curtains. And she says, thank you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was clear. Kind of just a room that I've never had activity in. And I'm like, how many times have I walked down this hall and I've never even acknowledged that room? And I feel awful because no team acknowledges that room. It's not one of the hot places for the biggest, best activity. And we asked a few more questions. We didn't get any answers. And I intuitively am like, William, I feel like she wants me to read. Next time we come in, remind me to bring a book and I'll read a book to her. That's kind of how I feel like that's what she wants. Do you want me to read to you? And the device says, papers, God. William, he's got the best Aaron face that you could ever imagine. Yeah, I'm making a reference to GA. But he turns around and goes, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? And he's adorable. He's like, aw. But around the corner where I can't see because the locker door is open, there's 2 newspapers and a Bible sitting on that dresser. And I'm like, do you want me to read you the Bible? And very clearly, yes. I'm like, wow. Okay, let's just drop everything. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read the Bible.
Right.
I'm not trying to provide anything to anyone. It's literally, I felt like that was my obligation. That's what I was supposed to do that day. And so I sat down and read her the entire first chapter of Genesis because when I would stop and say, do you want me to keep reading? She was saying yes or okay. Wow. And I'm like, well, I'm going to sit and read a Bible. That's what needs to happen here. And I did. And I didn't get to do anything else for the rest of the day other than run through really quick and sweep floors and do all of the other things because I sat down and read. Because
right.
That's what's supposed to happen. That's what.
That's what I would be doing if I was working somewhere. As in my girlfriend owns an inn in Gettysburg, and if I worked there, I would have my recorder on all the time. I'd be, always investigating for sure while I'm cleaning and stuff.
Yeah, I wish I had an opportunity to own a manor or something because I think that would be fun. But then again, it'd be like Josh and go out and investigate your own manor and get the shit scared out of you all the time.
He is funny.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, there's so much to offer with the paranormal field and so many things that you can do. And it's a never ending learning process of things that can go on. And that's the beauty of it. It's just learning. And it's just, and then communicating with other people on your team and being a cohesive team really helps,
Love you too, Patty. Love you too. So,
but I mean, that's.
I feel like even just the people that are on my live and everything, I'm like everybody that I've been working with. I mean, it feels like such a family, and
that's important to have.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to have.
So many people are talking all the paradrama all over the place. Like the last week on Facebook has been like paradrama that. And I'm like, I am very blessed. I have had 0 paradrama. I have had so many positive things going for us and
keep it going.
I am so happy with that. But like I'm surrounded by good people and like you guys are good people. I don't have any issues. I know that I'm not going to have any drama having communications with you guys. You guys are in it for the right reasons too. And that makes, such
a huge difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. So,
and it's awesome that it's the passion too that makes the difference. I mean, when you have the passion for this and it's not just about money, because that's when you see people go down. Money. I'm telling you, I see it all the time. As soon as they think that this is all they can do is make money off of it and that's their focus, they lose their passion. I don't even know if they've ever had passion to be able to get to the point where they get to, but
unless you're a Zach Baggins and a good business
I'm putting a
person and make money that way. That's the only way you can make money.
I've said this so many times. If somebody came to me and said, I will pay you your salary, or whatever, to just do paranormal stuff all day, I'd be like, heck yeah, because that would be my dream job. Like I would love to get paid doing it, but my passion wouldn't leave. Like I would be putting the money back into the paranormal, and I would be putting
Mm-hmm.
money into, like, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be. It's not about the money, but yes, I damn straight would love to get paid doing the paranormal stuff,
Well, yeah,
and not having to
absolutely.
work.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, God knows I hate my job, but I would love to do the paranormal stuff all the time, and I still am at home. I mean, when I'm not even to a location, I'm checking. I'm checking to.
Bill finished that statement from Cody, just in case.
And, I'm going through my equipment. I'm looking at what I can make it, how I can dress it up better, or make things a little more functional. You know, maybe I don't need this, maybe I don't need that, and stuff like that. It's like I buy stuff and it's like, okay, this doesn't work. You know,
I'd
put
be-
that off to the side and just focus on what does work. You know, so I'm constantly into my stuff, but I'm also into these lives.
Right.
Listen
Yeah.
to the shows. That's because you learn from the shows, even though
Well,
you're
if
when
they're-
you
if they're
also
good, yeah.
what's that?
The ones that are true and legit, and aren't trying to.
But even the ones that aren't true and legit still share with you some locations that you can go do your own research on. So
Right,
Oh, yeah,
right.
absolutely. But what he's
But the
saying,
topics are intriguing though. I mean, like this topic we have tonight, they're intriguing. People can learn from this, you know, and get ideas on what you could
I
do.
thought you were
Okay.
talking about when people do live investigations.
Well, in live investigations too, you can learn it because you're learning different styles.
Yeah, but you don't want to
That's the
learn
thing
when
too. Okay,
you-
this style may work for this person, but then it may not work for me. You know,
Right.
well, because
so you're always learning.
well, Darren
yeah.
can't see, so half of them won't work for him anyways. Sorry, Darren.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta see. You gotta be able to see to
careful.
learn.
You have to be careful what you YouTube, what you Google, and then the shows on TV are just entertainment. I mean,
Yeah.
um,
Or you could do our lives and get pegged by CBS. And CBS, I want my paycheck, by the way.
yeah, really. I was so mad. I wrote back to them. I was like, as a matter of fact, you were trying to copyright his original shit. So get out of here with this copyright crap.
Right. So CBS, if you're listening, I'm expecting a paycheck within the next 2 days. Speed it up.
Nice.
Speed it up. I want to get paid to do the paranormal, so yeah, go ahead, pay me.
But yeah, tonight was an absolutely fantastic show. Definitely want to get you guys back on when William could be a part of it as well, and we can touch up on another subject that you want to touch on, and just go from there. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. So, is there any last minute questions in the comments there?
No.
All right. Well, Kat, this has been an awesome show. Like I said, I knew going into this was gonna be a great show because we're friends and we all kid around and shoot the shit. So,
and we had all the best people in the conversation with us on chat. So
absolutely. So, with that, I think we'll call the night here, and then we'll bring you on again and bring Will on with us. And who knows? Maybe if there's a Saturday night free, we can do a Paranormal Question of the Day Saturday edition. What do you think, Taryn?
Saturday Night
yeah.
Fever.
Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, that sounds good.
That would be pretty cool. So, so with that, for Taryn and Kat, I'm Darren. You've been watching the Paranormal Brew and the BB3 TV network. Also, if you get time, check us out on the MGS Paranormal YouTube channel and give a like and follow. That'd be greatly appreciated. And so, yeah, check us out.
Peach worked.
Peach
Yes.
was perfect. He doesn't know how much.
I know. Peach was perfect. I left it there.
So with that, everybody, I bid you adieu, and we'll see you next time on the Paranormal Question of the Day. So long, everybody.